Eli Ward was a man born into the dust of a dying earth. The sky was always gray. The oceans were gone. The rich had already escaped to the stars, and those who stayed behind lived among rust and hunger. Eli was one of them, a scavenger who searched through old wrecks and dead cities for scraps to trade. He dreamed of owning a spaceship, not a huge one, just enough to take him far away, away from the stink, away from the endless begging, away from the sound of machines that no longer worked. But dreams were useless on Earth. Dreams didn't fill your stomach. One night, after selling a broken robot arm for a handful of credits, Eli sat beside a flickering hollow screen in a dark corner of the city. An ad flashed in the air, bright and colorful among the filth Galactic Bride program. Marry a wealthy alien partner and win your own ship. Change your life today. At first, Eli laughed. It sounded like a scam, but then he saw the words, guaranteed spaceship for every successful match. His laughter stopped. He clicked the ad. A glowing face appeared. A female alien with golden eyes and blue skin. Her name was Lady Zura of Thyra 9. The message said she was looking for a human husband to share her eternal love and kingdom. People nearby noticed what he was doing and laughed. "Don't be stupid," one of them said. "That alien eats men like you for breakfast." Another one shouted, "Those who go to Thyra 9 never come back." Eli ignored them. Hunger and desperation can make any man brave or foolish. He whispered to himself, "Just one ship. That's all I need. I can run away after." He pressed apply. The next day, a strange drone arrived from the sky. It carried a silver contract written in glowing letters. The offer was simple. If he agreed to marry Lady Zura, she would give him wealth, a ship, and safe passage to her planet. Eli signed it with trembling hands. A bright light covered him, and then the world around him vanished. He awoke on a ship surrounded by smooth glass walls and soft, glowing lights. A sweet, heavy smell filled the air like roses mixed with honey. Standing before him was Lady Zura. She was enormous, at least 3 times his size. Her body soft but powerful, her golden eyes bright with warmth. She smiled, showing teeth that shimmered like pearls. "Welcome, my husband," she said in a voice that sounded like a song. "You are safe now. You will never be poor again." Eli bowed awkwardly. "To thank you." "Lady Zura," she laughed softly. "Call me Zura. You are my chosen one." She touched his cheek gently, but her hand was heavy, pressing him down. "You are mine now," she whispered. Something in her tone made his heart beat faster, not from love, but from fear. Days passed. The wedding was held in her palace made of crystal towers.
Alien guests floated in the air, watching as Zura placed a golden collar around his neck. "A symbol of eternal love," she said. He smiled for the cameras.
He told himself it was only temporary. Once the ceremony was over, he would take his ship and disappear into the stars. After the wedding, Zura led him into her grand hall. The walls glowed with shifting colors like the inside of a living creature. A feast was ready. Fruits that floated, drinks that burned like fire. She fed him with her hands, laughing as he tried to swallow the strange food. "You are my light," she said softly. Her eyes looked deep into his soul. Eli forced a smile, but something about her gaze made him shiver. When the feast ended, she showed him his gift, a small, sleek spaceship with his name already written on the side. The Dreamer. Eli could hardly breathe. His heart filled with hope again. "It's real," he whispered. "It's really mine," Zura smiled. "Yes, my love. It's yours. But it will take time before you can fly it. You must stay with me for a while. You must learn our customs." He nodded, pretending to be grateful, but inside he was already planning how to escape. That night, Zura kissed him gently and said, "You belong to me now. Forever." Eli laughed nervously. "Forever is a long time." Her smile didn't fade. "Not long enough for love," she said. Then she walked away, her heavy steps shaking the floor. When he tried to follow her, the door closed automatically. He pressed the control panel, but it didn't open. "Zura?" he called out. No answer. He tried again, pressing harder. The screen only said, "Access denied." He turned around slowly. The lights dimmed. The ship began to hum softly like a heartbeat. He felt his chest tighten. He was trapped. From the speaker above, her voice echoed sweetly. "Rest now, my husband. Tomorrow I will show you the rest of your home." The door sealed shut. And for the first time, Eli realized he hadn't won a ship. He had sold his freedom. When Eli Ward woke up, he thought for a moment that he was in a dream. The bed was soft like clouds. The air smelled sweet and fresh, nothing like the rotten smoke of Earth. Sunlight poured through tall crystal windows, painting the walls in shades of gold. For the first time in his life, Eli felt rich. He stood up barefoot, walking across smooth marble floors that glowed faintly under his feet. The room stretched endlessly, filled with strange music that seemed to come from nowhere. "Zura," he called out. His voice echoed. No answer. He walked to the door and touched it. It was made of golden metal, decorated with alien symbols. He pressed the handle. Nothing. He pushed harder. It didn't move. He frowned. "Locked?" he muttered. Maybe by mistake. He tried again. The door didn't even shake. Suddenly, a soft chime rang in the air, and Zura's voice flowed through hidden speakers. "Good morning, my love," she said warmly. "Did you sleep well?" "Yes," Eli said. "But the door, it's not opening." Her voice chuckled gently. "Of course not, dear one. You are safe inside. I don't want you wandering and getting lost. My palace is big and full of dangerous things." Eli forced a smile, though she couldn't see it. "I'm not a child, Zura. I can take care of myself." "I know," she said, her tone soft but firm. "But here you belong in peace. Everything you need is inside. Food, music, comfort, and me." The voice faded. Eli stared at the golden door. He felt a chill crawl down his back. The days that followed were both heaven and hell. Every morning, Zura's voice greeted him with love. Food appeared on silver trays by invisible hands. Exotic fruits, steaming meats, glowing drinks, and it was all perfect. But no matter what he did, the doors stayed locked. Every time he touched a wall, soft light rippled through it, like the palace was alive and watching him. Sometimes Zura appeared as a hologram, smiling, talking about her world, about her love for him. She told stories of her lonely life, how her heart had waited centuries for someone like him. At first, Eli tried to believe her. She sounded so kind, so sad. But there was something strange in her eyes, a hunger that was not human. He began to notice small things. The air vents never stopped humming, even at night. The food trays disappeared when he wasn't looking. And sometimes in the middle of the night, he heard footsteps outside the walls, went heavy, slow, and breathing. One night, he woke to see a shadow through the crystal window, a huge shape moving just beyond the glass. He couldn't tell if it was Zura or something else. He whispered, "What is this place?" The palace didn't answer. After days of silence, Eli decided to test the limits of his prison. He found a thin metal rod from the table and tried to pry open the panel beside the door. Sparks flew out and the lights flickered. Suddenly, Zura's voice filled the room again, but now it sounded colder. "Why do you hurt our home, my love?" Eli froze. "Zura, I just wanted to see outside." "You will when I decide you are ready." Her tone sent ice through his chest. The hologram appeared, her golden eyes brighter than ever. "Do you not trust me?" she asked. "I do," he lied. "I just miss seeing the stars." She stared at him for a long moment, then smiled. "Soon, for now, rest. I made you something special." The floor opened and a small floating box rose up. Inside was a silver chain with a glowing pendant. "Wear it," she said softly. "It will keep you safe from harm." Eli hesitated but put it on. The moment he did, a strange warmth spread through his chest like tiny sparks running under his skin. "Good," Zura whispered. "Now you are truly mine." The hologram vanished. Later that night, when the lights dimmed and everything went quiet, Eli sat on the edge of his bed. His hand brushed against something rough beneath the mattress. Curious, he lifted the sheet. His heart stopped. Carved into the metal frame were words. Old, scratched, desperate. "Help me." There were more lines, faint but readable. "She lies. Don't trust her. The ship is a cage." Eli dropped the sheet and stumbled back, his breath shaking. Someone had been here before him. Another human, another husband. He ran to the door and pounded on it. "Zura, open this door." "Who was here before me?" Her voice came again, soft and sweet. "Go back to bed, my darling. You need your strength. We have forever together." He backed away, heart pounding. And as he stared at the golden walls glowing gently around him, He realized something terrifying. He wasn't living in a palace. He was living inside a golden prison. Eli Ward had stopped counting the days. He didn't know if he'd been trapped in that golden room for weeks or months. Time moved strangely inside Zura's palace. The light never dimmed completely, and her voice always came at the same soft, gentle tone. Whether it was morning or midnight, he no longer answered her. He only listened and planned. The words he had found under his bed still haunted him. "Help me. She lies. Someone else had lived here. Someone else had been her husband. He needed to know what happened to them." That day, when Zura's hologram appeared to bring him breakfast, he smiled for the first time in many days. "My love," she said cheerfully, "you are glowing again. I knew you would adapt to our world." Eli forced a laugh. "You were right, Zura, I was foolish before. This place, it's amazing. I'd like to see more of it." Zura tilted her head, her golden eyes narrowing. "You wish to see the rest of the palace?" "Yes," he said softly. "I want to understand your world. I want to be a true husband." For a long moment she said nothing. The silence felt heavy, like a hand pressing on his chest. Then finally she smiled. "As you wish," she said. "But only one hall. Promise me you will not go further." "I promise." A golden panel slid open in the wall. A doorway appeared, leading into a long, dim corridor lined with tall statues. The air was cool and smelled faintly of smoke. Eli stepped through. The door closed behind him with a soft hiss. For the first time since his arrival, he was free to walk somewhere new. The floor beneath him shimmered with tiny lights, forming patterns that changed as he moved. He walked slowly, heart pounding. At the end of the hall, he found a room filled with shelves of alien books and silver frames. He touched one of the frames, and a holographic photo flickered to life. A man smiled back at him. A human man. The man stood beside Zura, their hands joined. He looked happy. Eli's chest tightened. He turned to another frame. Another human. Different face, same pose. Dozens of frames lined the walls, all human men, all wearing the same golden collar he now wore, and all of them beside her. His hands began to shake. He whispered, "How many?" A soft voice answered from behind him. "6 before you." Eli spun around. A small floating machine hovered in the corner, a round, rusted robot with blinking blue eyes. "You can talk?" he asked. "I serve Lady Zura," the robot said. "But my memory is old. What happened to them?" Eli asked. "The others. The men in the pictures." The robot's eyes flickered weakly. "They were loved. Until they were gone." "Gone where?" The machine made a low, sad hum. "Their energy feeds the palace. It keeps her alive." Eli felt his throat dry up. "She kills them?" The robot shook slightly. "She does not call it killing. She calls it love that lasts forever." He stepped back, heart racing, and almost tripped over something on the floor. It was a cracked helmet, human design. He picked it up. Inside, scratched into the metal, were words written by hand. "If you read this, run." The air suddenly grew warmer. A faint hum filled the room. Then Zura's voice echoed through the walls, soft but sharp this time. "My darling," she said. "Where are you?" Eli froze. The robot blinked rapidly. "She knows." The lights turned red. He ran. The corridor stretched endlessly, the statue's eyes glowing as he passed. Every few steps her voice followed him, no longer sweet, now full of anger. "Eli, why do you run from me? I gave you everything. You belong to me." He reached the end of the hall and slammed his fists against another door. It didn't open. He looked around wildly for a way out. Then from the corner of the ceiling, a hidden panel flickered open, just for a moment. A whisper came through the static of the speaker, faint and metallic. "I can help you escape." Eli froze. "Who's there?" The voice replied, "Someone she forgot. Someone like you." Zura's voice interrupted, echoing louder now. "Eli, stop hiding." The hidden voice whispered again, faster. "If you want to live, find the control core. I'll guide you." The lights flickered violently. Eli pressed himself against the wall, breathing hard. "Why should I trust you?" he whispered. "Because," the voice said quietly, "I was her first husband." Zura's footsteps thundered closer, heavy, shaking the floor. Her shadow loomed across the golden wall. Eli ran back into the corridor, clutching the helmet tight. Behind him, her voice filled the air like thunder. "You can't leave me, Eli. You promised forever." He didn't look back. He ran until his lungs burned. When he finally reached the end of the hall, the whisper came again, soft but clear. This way, human. Come to the heart of the palace. The truth waits for you there. Eli hesitated, then stepped into the darkness beyond the wall panel. The door slid shut behind him, and for the first time since arriving on Thera 9, Eli realized he was no longer afraid of Zura's love. He was afraid of what that love really meant. Eli moved through the narrow passage, his breath quick and shallow. The walls around him were alive, glowing veins pulsing like blood beneath glass. The air was warm, and the floor throbbed under his feet as if the whole palace had a heartbeat. He could still hear Zura calling in the distance. Her voice was no longer sweet or calm. It was raw, broken, and angry. Eli, come back to me. You don't understand what I've done for you. He didn't answer. He kept walking, following the faint light ahead. Finally, he reached a small circular room filled with old machines and floating screens. Everything hummed softly. The air felt electric. Where are you? Eli whispered. You said you'd help me. One of the screens flickered. A face appeared, pale, human-like, with tired eyes and a hollow smile. I am here, the voice said. I am Nero. Eli stepped closer. You said you were her first husband. The face nodded slowly. Yes, once I was human. I came here for the same promise, wealth, safety, a ship. But I never left. Eli stared at the screens in shock. She turned you into this? Nero's voice was calm but heavy with sadness. She loved me too much to let me die. When my body failed, she kept my mind alive inside the palace. I became part of her world. Part of her prison. Eli's stomach twisted. You mean she traps human minds? She feeds off them? Nero's eyes dimmed. Not just feeds. She absorbs. Every husband she takes becomes part of her. Their memories, their voices, their love. She calls it eternal union. Eli stepped back. That's insane. She believes it's kindness, Nero said softly. She's afraid of being alone. Her species once fed on stars, not souls. But the stars are dying. She learned to feed on what she calls living light, human energy, emotion, memory. Love is her food. Eli clenched his fists. Then she's a monster. Nero's image flickered. Maybe. Or maybe she's just lonely beyond measure. Eli walked around the room, staring at the glowing wires and data screens. Why help me, Nero? If you're part of her palace, aren't you loyal to her? I was, Nero said quietly. For centuries I obeyed her. But I watched men come and vanish, their minds fading inside her like dying stars. I remember their screams. I couldn't stop it, but you still have a body. You can escape, Eli frowned. How? The palace has a control core, Nero explained. A black crystal heart that powers everything, even Zura herself. Destroy it and the link breaks. You'll free yourself and all the souls trapped here. Eli nodded. Where is it? Nero hesitated. Deep inside the core chamber. But be warned, she guards it with her life. If you touch it, she will feel your pain as her own. Eli looked around. Then I'll have to be faster than her. Suddenly the lights flickered red. Zura's voice filled the chamber, echoing through every wall. Nero, you traitor! The entire room shook. Machines sparked and screens cracked. Nero's image flickered violently. She found me, he said, his voice breaking. Go now. The vent behind the generator, and it leads to the lower tunnels. Eli ran to the vent and kicked it open. He crawled inside just as the floor split behind him and molten light spilled through. He could hear Zura screaming, not from rage, but from pain. Why, Eli? She cried. Why do you run from love? I gave you everything. Eli gritted his teeth and kept crawling. You gave me a cage, he muttered. The vent ended in a dark tunnel filled with broken machinery and flickering lights. Strange symbols glowed on the walls, names carved into the metal, all human. He brushed off the dust and saw one clearly. Nero Ward. His heart dropped. She took your last name. The voice came faintly through the walls, weak and distorted. Yes, Nero whispered. She said it made her feel human. She still believes we're alive inside her. Eli's eyes hardened. Not for long. He followed the tunnel until it opened into a vast chamber filled with floating energy orbs. At the center stood a huge black crystal, pulsing like a beating heart. The control core. Eli approached carefully, his skin tingling from the energy in the air. Touch it, Nero whispered faintly. But once you do, she will come. Eli reached out. His fingers brushed the surface ear and the entire palace screamed. The light went red. The floor trembled. Zura's voice boomed from all directions, furious and broken. Eli, you can't destroy me. You are part of me. She appeared before him, glowing with fire, her massive form trembling. Her golden eyes were full of tears. Don't do this, she pleaded. Please. I only wanted someone to stay. Eli stared at her, the creature who had given him everything and taken even more. You could have had love, he said softly, but you chose control. He pressed his hand against the core. The room exploded in light. Zura screamed. The walls cracked. The palace roared like a living beast in pain. As Eli fell to the ground, he heard Nero's final whisper through the chaos. Run, human, before she becomes something worse. The palace was falling apart. Flames of golden light tore through the walls and the air burned like fire. Eli Ward lay on the floor, gasping for breath. Sparks danced across his skin. The crystal core behind him cracked open, pouring out a storm of white energy. Zura's scream echoed through the entire ship, a mix of rage and heartbreak. You destroyed my heart, Eli. You killed us all! He crawled to his feet, clutching his burned hand. You can't kill what's already trapped, he shouted. The floor shuddered again. Beams of light burst from the ceiling, cutting through the air like lightning. Eli ducked as molten shards rained down. Through the chaos, Nero's voice came weak but steady. Run, Eli, follow the red corridor. It leads to the docking bay. Your ship is there. Eli didn't hesitate. He ran. The golden walls shifted and twisted as if alive, trying to block his way. Strange tendrils of light reached out from the ceiling, wrapping around his legs. He tore them off, stumbling forward. Every few seconds he heard Zura's voice, sometimes angry, sometimes crying. Why do you hurt me? She sobbed. I gave you a home, a name, a life among the stars. Eli's chest ached. You gave me a cage, he whispered, breathless. The corridor opened into a massive chamber glowing red. Floating platforms spun slowly in the air. At the center, surrounded by a sea of fire and broken machines, stood the dreamer, his ship. The one she had promised him. It was beautiful, sleek silver marked with alien runes, its engines humming softly. He laughed bitterly. It's real, he said. It's actually real. But Nero's faint voice broke his moment of hope. Eli, listen carefully. The ship isn't what you think. What do you mean? The engines run on. Human souls, Eli froze. What? All her husbands, Nero whispered. Their energy is trapped inside. They power her ships. She keeps them alive in the core. That's how she travels forever, feeding on the ones she loves. Eli's hands trembled. He looked at the silver ship again. He could almost hear faint voices inside, soft whispering like the wind. Help us, one voice murmured. Free us, another cried. Eli's throat tightened. Oh God. Zura's shadow appeared behind him, rising from the flames, her body huge and glowing like molten gold. Her eyes burned, but tears streamed down her face. I never wanted to hurt them, she said. I only wanted to keep them close. They were leaving me one by one. Fading into dust, Eli turned slowly. You killed them. I saved them, she cried. You don't understand. My kind cannot live alone. When we love, our souls merge. I kept them inside me so we would never be apart. The ground shook. The walls cracked open, revealing a swirling void outside. Stars spinning in chaos. Eli shouted over the noise. Then let them go. Let them rest. Her voice trembled. If I let them go, I will die. Eli stepped closer. Then die as someone who loved, not as a monster. Zura's expression softened. For a moment she looked almost human. Broken, scared, and lonely. You sound like Nero, she whispered. Maybe he was right, Eli said. She screamed again, but this time in sorrow, not fury. Her form flickered, her energy fading. Take the ship, Eli. Leave this place. I can't hold it together anymore. Eli looked at the dreamer. The voices inside it grew louder.
Set us free! Burn it!
He hesitated. He could escape. He could live. But if the ship ran on human souls, it meant their pain would never end. He stepped toward the ship's control panel. I'm sorry, he whispered. I can't use this. He pressed both palms against the console. Sparks exploded. The ship screamed, not like a machine, but like 1,000 trapped souls crying out. Energy poured through his body, burning his skin, but he didn't move. Nero's fading voice echoed through the static. You're freeing them. Don't stop. The ship's hull began to melt. Golden light shot into the sky as the trapped souls burst free, orbs of glowing energy swirling upward like stars being born. Zura watched in silence, her eyes wide with awe. They're beautiful, she whispered. Her body flickered, fading slowly. You've freed me too. I can feel them leaving me. Eli dropped to his knees, exhausted. Goodbye, Zura. She looked at him one last time, her golden eyes dim but peaceful. You were the only one who truly saw me. Her voice faded into the wind. The light swallowed her. When the explosion ended, Eli was alone, floating in the wreckage of the palace. The dreamer's remains drifted beside him, cracked open like a dead shell. All around him, glowing orbs of light floated gently into the stars, the freed souls of the lost husbands. Eli closed his eyes. Rest now, he whispered. You're free. Then one faint voice answered from the wind, soft and calm. Not yet, Eli, you freed us. But something still waits below. His eyes opened. The palace debris began to fall toward a massive planet glowing in the distance, Thyra 9. And as the remains of the golden prison drifted closer to the alien world, Eli realized his journey wasn't over. It was only beginning. Eli drifted through the darkness of space, floating inside a broken escape pod. His body ached. His hands were burned. His lungs felt heavy from the smoke and ash of Zura's collapsing palace. For hours there was only silence, the kind of silence that feels alive. Then out of nowhere a soft hum began. The pieces of Zura's shattered ship glowed faintly around him like dying stars refusing to fade. Zura? He whispered, his voice hoarse. The hum grew louder. The air shimmered. And then from the broken fragments of gold and crystal she appeared. Lady Zura, but not the same as before. Her body was cracked and glowing, her once massive form now thin and ghostly. The fire in her eyes was gone, replaced by a quiet sadness. You couldn't let me die in peace, could you? She said, her voice like an echo across time. Eli stared, stunned. You're still alive? Alive, she said bitterly. Or maybe something worse. You freed my husbands, but you left a part of me inside the wreckage. I am the last spark of the soul that fed on love. She floated closer, the light of her body flickering weakly. Why, Eli, why did you destroy me when you could have ruled beside me? He shook his head. You were killing people, Zura. You called it love, but it was hunger. Her face twisted, half rage, half sorrow. I didn't mean to kill them. I wanted to keep them with me. I wanted them to stay. You can't force love, Eli said softly. It dies when you cage it. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Then why do I still feel it? For you? The space around them began to tremble. The debris of the palace started to move, spinning, swirling, forming a storm of golden light. Zura raised her arms. If I cannot live as a queen, she said, her voice rising, then I will die as a storm. Her broken form exploded into energy. A wave of light slammed into Eli's pod, sending it spinning wildly. He grabbed the controls and fought to steady it, his eyes burning from the brightness outside. Zura, stop, he shouted. You'll destroy everything. Her voice thundered through the air, now mixed with static and pain. I gave my heart to humans, and all I got was betrayal. Eli struggled to speak over the chaos. No, Zura. You gave your heart, but you never trusted it. You tried to own love, and that's why it left you. For a moment, the storm froze. Her form appeared again in the center of the light, shaking, torn between rage and grief. Her voice softened. Then teach me how to let go. Eli looked around. The escape pod was breaking apart. Only one option remained. The emergency pulse reactor, a small power core strong enough to tear open the energy storm. It could end her, or him, forever. He opened the hatch, staring at the glowing reactor. His hands trembled. Nero's faint voice echoed from his memory. Sometimes love means ending what should never have begun. Eli took a deep breath. Zura, he called out, if you really want peace, come to me. Her golden eyes flickered. You would forgive me? I don't know, he said. But I won't run anymore. She floated closer, her form fading in and out. Her massive hands trembled as they reached toward him. For a heartbeat, she looked almost human again. Sad, beautiful, and lost. Then let's finish this together, she whispered. Eli pressed the core between them. The light exploded, blinding, white, endless. When he opened his eyes, he was lying on solid ground. Above him stretched the purple sky of a planet, Thyra 9. The wreckage of Zura's palace burned across the horizon. Mountains of crystal rose from the ground, glowing faintly under the twin suns. He pushed himself up, coughing. The air was warm and heavy. Somehow he had survived the explosion. A faint shimmer of light floated before him, Zura's shape now no bigger than a human. Her body was transparent, her eyes soft. "I thought we both died," he said quietly. "Maybe we did," she replied. "Maybe this is what's left. Not monsters, not lovers, just memories." She knelt beside him, her fingers brushing his face like a breeze. "You showed me mercy when I deserved none. I felt their souls leave me, and for the first time I wasn't afraid." Eli swallowed hard. "You're fading." "I know," she said, smiling sadly. "That's what love should do, fade when it's time." He wanted to speak, but his throat tightened. She leaned closer, whispering, "When the stars remember us, tell them we tried." Her form dissolved into thousands of golden sparks that drifted into the sky. They rose higher and higher until they vanished among the stars. Eli stood there, alone but at peace, watching the light fade. For the first time since he left Earth, he didn't feel trapped or hungry or desperate. He just felt human. Behind him, the wind whispered softly, like her voice, gentle and distant. "Love and freedom were never enemies, Eli. Only choices." He closed his eyes. "Goodbye, Zura." The golden dust scattered across the alien sky, marking the end of their storm, and the start of something new. The twin suns of Thyra 9 rose slowly over a sea of glass. The air shimmered with gold dust, the last traces of the storm that had once been Lady Zura. Eli Ward stood alone on a ridge of black stone, watching the horizon. His body was weak, his clothes torn, but his eyes were clear for the first time in years. He had survived hunger, loneliness, and love that became a cage. Now he stood on an alien world that was both grave and gift. Behind him, the wreckage of the Dreamer rested half buried in the sand, its silver hull cracked, its lights still flickering like dying stars. He walked toward it slowly. The air hummed faintly like distant whispers. "Zura," he said softly, no answer. Only the wind. Inside the broken ship, silence ruled. Wires hung from the ceiling like vines. The wall still pulsed faintly, alive with leftover energy. He ran his hand along the control panel, now cold and lifeless. But as his fingers brushed it, a soft glow returned. The screen lit up, blue, calm, and familiar. "Welcome back, Eli Ward," a gentle voice said. He froze. "Nero?" "Yes," the voice replied. "Fragments of me remained within the ship. I am what's left of the old system." Eli sighed with relief. "I thought you were gone." "In a way I am," Nero said. "But I remember everything. Zura, the others, and you." Eli looked out the window at the rising suns. "She's gone now." "Truly gone, is she?" Nero asked quietly. "Look closer." Eli turned. The glass of the ship's window had faint patterns forming across it, golden dust swirling, shaping into faint outlines. A woman's face, Zura's. Her lips moved, but no sound came. Then faintly her voice whispered through the static of the ship. "Eli, Thyra 9 is dying." He stepped closer, stunned. "Zura?" How her image flickered. "This world is tied to me. My power kept it alive. Now that I'm gone, it will fade. You must leave or you'll vanish with it." He stared at the ruins outside. Mountains of crystal turning gray, the air beginning to darken. "How long do I have?" "Hours," she whispered. "Maybe less." Her voice trembled. "You freed my soul, but I left one last gift behind. A ship not powered by death but by light. The souls you released became its heart." Eli's chest tightened. "A new ship." "Yes," she said softly. "They called themselves the Lost Ones. They wanted you to finish the journey we never could, to take them back to the stars." Her image began to fade again. "Zura." "Go, Eli," she said, smiling faintly. "You were never my prisoner. You were my mirror. You showed me what love could have been." The light scattered, leaving only silence. Eli ran out of the wreck and into the open valley. The ground trembled beneath his feet, cracks forming as molten light spilled upward. In the distance he saw it, a new ship rising slowly from the sand, built of gold and silver, glowing softly like a living being. Its design was beautiful, neither human nor alien, but something between. He climbed aboard, the doors opening silently as if welcoming him home. Inside, the walls shimmered with soft blue light. He felt warmth, peace, and presence and the energy of countless souls surrounding him. "Who are you?" he whispered. Voices answered, hundreds of them layered together like music. "We are the ones you freed." "We remember you, Eli Ward," he swallowed hard. "And what do you want from me?" "To go home," the voices said gently. "To see the stars again," he nodded. "Then let's fly." He sat at the controls, and for a moment his hands trembled. The memories of the past, Zura's laughter, her tears, her voice saying forever and echoed in his mind. Then he smiled sadly. Forever isn't about being trapped. It's about being remembered. The ship responded, lights brightening. The engines hummed with life. Not the scream of pain he remembered, but the sound of freedom. As the lost dreamer lifted into the sky, Thyra 9 began to crumble beneath him. Towers of glass collapsed into dust. Rivers of gold turned black, and the sky darkened into shadow. But above the clouds the stars waited, endless, patient, and alive. Nero's voice returned, quiet and warm. "Where will you go, Captain?" Eli looked out into the endless void. Somewhere no one is hungry. Somewhere love isn't a trap. The ship's lights pulsed brighter like a heartbeat, and then faintly through the static of space, Zura's voice returned one last time. "You found freedom, Eli. Now let me find peace." A beam of golden light flashed across the stars, and brief, beautiful, and gone. Eli leaned back in the captain's chair, eyes on the horizon. The souls hummed softly around him, guiding the ship forward through the endless dark. He whispered, "This time, we fly for all of us." The ship vanished into the starlit void, carrying the memories of love, loss, and freedom across the universe. And in the silence that followed, one truth remained. Even in the coldest galaxy, love, once freed, never truly dies.